Hi guys, welcome to Learn with Sawgrass. This is our Wednesday live workshop. I am Rhonda, I am the education manager here at Sawgrass, and I'm so glad you're able to join us today. Whether it's live or whether you watch us a little bit later on, we're really glad to have you and to teach you a little bit about Sawgrass and the many things you can do with the SG500 and SG1000 printers. So if you ever wonder, this is an SG1000. It does have a option tray on it, so I can actually run two different paper types from the same printer without having to change them out in the tray. Really helpful on a day like today where I'm doing two very different types of projects. So as I hope you have heard by now, a few months ago we launched a new product called Versiflex. So the Versiflex design system allows you to use an SG500 or SG1000 printer, and with that ink set you are able to do both traditional sublimation paper when using traditional sublimation projects when using traditional sublimation paper, and then by putting in the Versiflex light paper, now you're able to do those things that have kind of been off limits, those products that are not poly coated. And then for fabric, that means cotton fabric and pretty much any fabric or fabric blend out there. So today I kind of wanted to show you both sides of the world. I wanted to do three of my favorite products to use for sublimation, and then three of my favorite products to use with the Versiflex. So one of the things that dawned on me really quickly when I talk about this is it's more than just a product, it's a product category. So whether you're a hobbyist and you're just making things for yourself and your friends and family, or whether you're making things to sell, we kind of cover it all. So for instance, when we talk about sublimation, right off the bat, the biggest category, the biggest thing to talk about is going to be drinkware, starting with the ceramic mug. So ceramic mugs are such a huge thing, but whether you're making a glass cup, or whether you are, or I guess that's a frosted glass cup, or whether you're making steel or metal tumblers and water bottles, all of that can be done with your traditional sublimation, whether you're using the Sublijet ink or the Versiflex ink. Now, just a reminder, you cannot switch ink, so what ink you have in the printer is the ink that's going to be in the printer. If you want to do Versiflex, you will absolutely have to get a new printer to do that. But once you have that ink in there, you can do both. You can do the traditional sublimation when you have the transfer paper in there, and then by putting in that Versiflex light, you can do those Versiflex projects as well. So let's dive right in, and we are going to start with our first project. I'm actually today going to be doing everything out of our design tool. So one of the advantages of Sawgrass is that we do have our own software. A lot of companies that make, whether it's sublimation printers or whether it's other technologies that do something similar to what you can do with the Versiflex light, don't have software to support it. So we do have our Sawgrass print utility that is going to allow you to have all of the profiles you need to make sure you're getting the right amount of ink, and in the case of Versiflex, the right amount of expander laid down to give you the results you need. And then on the other side, we do have a design tool, because one of the things that I realized when so if you don't know my history, I have been with Sawgrass, it'll be 7 years in September. I did start out in tech support. One of the roles that I took on between tech support and where I am now is I did onboardings, and then led the onboarding team too, still do. But with onboardings, when I got to that question of what program do you design in, a lot of people don't really have a program they design in. So our design tool is going to give you a spot to design if you need it. If you don't want to use it, that's perfectly fine as well. But we're going to go ahead and jump in. Now, Rhodes is with me today, handling my sound, my cameras, all that fun stuff, but he's also in the chat. So if you have any questions, want to make any comments, tell me hello, please feel free to do that in the chat, and Rhodes will keep me up to date. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in on design. Now I am doing a tote bag. This tote bag is behind me. It's one that I did pick up online. I really love this one. It's a little bit smaller in dimension, but one of my favorite parts is it does have a wide bottom. So I immediately thought for books. For my daughter, that would be for music. But also I think it's a really great bag for crafting in general. So that's kind of the direction we're going to go today. So for this, I'm just going to use a blank sheet because I know my paper is 8.5 by 11. I want to make sure and I use all of that I can. So we'll go ahead and grab that. Now, if you have not been in our design tool, we do have a subscription. It is the My Sawgrass Plus subscription. It is $12.95 per month currently. With that, the biggest thing you get is upgraded artwork. So anytime you see anything, whether it's a design, whether it's a pattern, whether it's an element, a font even that has that diamond, that does mean it is part of the My Sawgrass. If you are not a My Sawgrass subscriber, you can still use that artwork on your artboard, but if you go to print or save, it will tell you you need to upgrade. So I'm actually using the filter, one of my favorite features, and I'm going to go down to a category we've had for a while called Maker's Gonna Make. And there's some really great artwork in here. I just made my manager really happy by giving her some artwork out of here. But I'm actually going to go down and use one of these great crafter ones. And there's so many. I have tried several of them this morning because I do love all of them. But I am going to use this Make Time to Be Creative today, because that really works for a whole lot of different situations. All right, I'm going to hit print. And I'm going to hit print again. There we go. I'm going to get my button in just a second to hit print on that. And it's gonna go to the next step just shortly, which is going to be telling me to give it permission to open up the print utility. It is two separate pieces of software. They do function completely separately. Separate teams work on them too. So this is allowing it to send from that web-based program into this downloadable print utility. I actually really like this. Everything is on there. I don't need to worry about resizing anything, which is lovely. So that's ready to go. I don't need to worry about my crop to image area here. You see me use that quite a bit to remove any extra white area. Don't need it. It's exactly where I want it to be. I am going to keep that adjust for light colors checked. This is going on a cotton. This is one of those Versiflex light projects. And so because I'm using that Versiflex light paper, I do need the expander laid down. With anything that's very close to white, within a few shades of that, you are going to need that button check just to make sure enough expander gets laid down so that it can bond. So I'm going to leave that checked. I don't need to center it. It's perfect the way it is. This is a cotton linen bag, so I will leave that at cotton. It's already telling me that I need my Versiflex light paper, so I'm all set there. I'm going to go up to my color management, and I am going to set this to vivid just to make sure those colors are very bright and saturated. All right, so I'm going to hit print, and we're going to move over to press. I have this out so it'll do what it needs to do. And we're ready to go. Now, I am going to pre-press this. Now, you're going to notice that I am turning my bag upside down. And the reason I'm turning it upside down is I want to get this top seam and this handle outside of the press. So for me, it's easier to do it upside down and then just have to remember that than anything else. I've already set this to my super high pressure that I need. I am just doing a pre-press. You always want to do a pre-press when you are doing pretty much any fabric, but definitely cotton, because you want to get any moisture out that may be in there. So that's set and ready to go. You noticed I pre-pressed for about 10 seconds. You are seeing that it is very wet as I go. Ha ha ha! Almost did it. Almost put it right side up instead of upside down. I'm going to put that right in the middle of the bag. You notice I kind of do a hover and drop. Now it is wet. You can't reposition, but I do position it before I place it down, so I don't have to worry about that. Cover that with my blowout paper. I'm ready to go. All right, now I do have that pressure extremely high. The high pressure is very important for fabric. It does help with the bonding. This is just, for the record, 375 for 30 seconds that we have that set for. Very high pressure. All right, all ready to go. Now this does need to be a fast, hot peel. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and peel that off. Now you see this is really, really smooth. Part of that is because it is the linen bag. Cotton shirts are always going to be a little bit harder. Hopefully we'll get to one of those today. But you did see that was a nice smooth peel. If you're ever not getting a nice smooth peel, you probably need to up that pressure. So here is my bag. I love it. Could easily put this on the back side too. Could put a different design or a name back there also. But I really, really love this. All right, so before I move over to do anything else, I am going to up the temperature. So my next project is going to be a neoprene mouse pad. So I am going to do a traditional sublimation project next. So I am upping that to 400 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and up that temperature too. All right, and while I'm standing here, I'm going to go ahead and lower this a little bit. I do know probably 2 turns. You don't need that super high pressure. I do know with this particular mouse pad it is on the thinner side, and so I know that's probably right, but I'll test it again before we actually press it. All right, so one of my first projects that I did was that tote bag. I did do a cotton tote bag. So that is that Versiflex light paper that is used to do that with the Versiflex ink. One of the other ones that you can do that we really love is the nylon. Any of those nylon bags work fantastic. So I really say that is one of my favorite Versiflex projects. But in the traditional sublimation world, there are lots of polyester tote bags too. So if you have the Subligent ink, tote bags are still right up there with some of my favorites. But we're going to go to one of those that is definitely a sublimation project, and that is going to be using a neoprene mouse pad. Now neoprene for sublimation, so it's neoprene that has that polyester fabric topping on it. Usually it's white. There are a few different projects here that really work great with the neoprene. Mouse pads are a huge winner. But also you can do neoprene lunch bags. So you really can send kids to school and sell lunch bags for kids to go to school that are very much themed around what they like, whether it's an animal, whether it is a superhero or whatever that may be, mermaids, all of those fun things can be used on that. So those are great. And then you also will see neoprene We're going to say can huggers. I think in Australia it's called a stumpy. But any of those neoprene can huggers are really cool too, especially with events to make sure everyone knows whose drink is whose. And again, it's a great takeaway. And then of course they're neoprene car coasters too, so that's a big one. So Rhodes, have we had any questions come in?
No, but just good morning from Lori, good morning from Lou, Miriam, and Kelly as well.
Ah, nice. Okay, so let's do this mouse pad. Misspelled mouse pad. All right, so I do have my mouse pad. I want to do something a little unique with this one. So we are going to actually go into our elements and we're going to go down to our shapes. And I'm going to use one of those basic shapes, but it's probably my favorite. We're going to use a heart. Now with the shapes, as you've heard me say, you can use them as just the shape. So if I wanted to say, I love South Carolina, I could just make that red. I can even outline it, but I'm actually going to use this as a shape mask. So I'm going to upload a photo. All right. And then you notice I clicked on it again and now I have some extra tools. So I'm going to, I think I need to make this maybe one click bigger. Yeah, move that over. Now, this is great. This idea I'm doing, this actually coworker, he gave me 2 photos to choose from. One just him and his kids, and then one that's his whole family. So if I were to do just the kids, this would be a fantastic Father's Day gift with Father's Day this weekend. I'm actually going to go ahead and make the stroke a little bit stronger on this, so it does have a little black stroke. I could make this a red stroke too to look more like a heart, and we'll do just that. And then if it were just the kids, I'd probably put Dad's heart. I'm just going to put my heart on this one, so I'm going to do a font, add my on there. Okay. And then as you've seen me do before, I do love using the filter so that I can look for a very specific type of font. I want to do more of a handwritten one on this. I'm going to move this up so we can all see it. Yeah, there we go. All right. So there that is. We could even put his name. Really great personalized project here. And then I am going to go in and just make this a colored background. So I'm going to go into backgrounds. It doesn't really matter on this what I do, just whatever kind of feels right here. Yeah, I think that looks great. All right, so we have that all set and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and print it. Send that over just like we did the first time. Okay. Going to pull up my print button in just a second. It is a bigger image. Do have a nice professional photo on there, so it is taking just a second longer. All right. But these mouse pads, I know a lot of people don't use mouse pads, but they're still really great to have on your desk. I actually have one on my desk that I made when I first started working here. So it's 7 years old, and I know I probably don't need it, but it's really fun to have. And on some surfaces it is great. But again, really great Father's Day gift, really great thing to sell during what we call the gifting season, which is right now because of Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduations, weddings. It's really a busy season of change. So it's really a good time for that. All right, so this was full bleed. I do not need to crop that. I think this is going to fit just perfectly, but we will check it. I am going to change this, my product to neoprene. You will see that immediately my paper is going to change to my True Picks and be my full list there. I am going to change this from tray 1 to the option tray. If you have just gotten an option tray or are looking at getting an option tray, there's a great knowledge base article on using that. There's also a wonderful quick tip video that Rhodes did this week. Make sure and check that out. Really helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and my color management. Leave this as photograph because I want that photograph to turn out really well. And I'm going to hit print. All right, so while that is getting ready to print, I am going to go ahead and make sure my press is set up and then grab that. Okay, my temperature is right. Little light to me, so I'm going to go a half turn heavier. But I can definitely tell there's neoprene in the press.
Rhonda, we have a really good question here in the chat.
Okay.
So we did this yesterday, but Robin is asking for a two-sided item like the tote using Versiflex light paper.
Yeah.
How do you do the second side without impacting the first?
Yeah, so it works pretty much like any sublimation you do that is double-sided. You're going to do one side and then you're going to do the other side. Whether it's sublimation, whether it's the Versiflex, you do want to use blowout paper on both sides. So any ink that may come off, and it's minimal, any ink that may come off is coming off on the blowout paper and not on your press. But that goes for sublimation too. When you're doing double-sided, there are situations where you may try to do both sides at once. Some people just do it because it's easier. There are products like wind spinners that tend to slip and slide a little bit. And so I know a lot of people will try to do that at the same time. But in general, my policy is I do one side and then the other, no matter what I'm doing. All right, this is ready to go. Okay. I have my tape over here. So you notice that when I use the Versiflex, I am not taping it down. You don't have to with the Versiflex light paper because it is going on wet. And I line this up just perfectly. I'm so proud of myself. But with the Versiflex, you're not having to worry so much about taping it down. But we will with any of our traditional sublimation today. One of my early lessons that I learned about neoprene is you do want to be very careful with neoprene that it's taping it down to the paper in such a way that the tape's not going to flip over because I've done that before and then ended up with a white spot. That's actually my mouse pad that I talked about that's 7 years old. It does have a white spot on it, but we don't tell anybody. It looks like it fits right in. All right.
Real quick, we do have a good question. Kelly asked if you need to put anything inside so that it doesn't bleed through.
No. Generally, so I often, if I'm using something that's really thin, I will put something on the inside just for safety's sake. But in general, I know from looking at these tote bags and at the shirts that I've been using that there's no issue with it bleeding through. And the way you can tell this the easiest is once you've done a shirt, look at it, you're normally not seeing anything on the inside. And so I've really kind of gotten away from that with most everything I do. All right, let's go with this mouse pad. Now with this, because there is a slight bit of a bleed, meaning ink around the edge, I am putting a piece of paper underneath just so I don't get anything on my press. All right, so we are going to go ahead and press that. This is 45 seconds at 400 degrees. That is going to be a little hot, so I'm going to go ahead and put a glove on. Get that all set up. I'm going to go ahead and turn my mug press on. We will do a mug next. Oh, look. Neoprene is hot, so I'm going to kind of lay it on my glove. But as you can see, it's steaming. But as you can see, isn't that adorable? That's going to be great for his desk. All right. Okay. I actually turned the mug press off, so we will turn that back on. And then this paper does have some green on it, so I'm going to get rid of that. Don't want to get green on anything else I do. I am going to go ahead and drop the temperature on this back to 375. Give me all some good beeps. And down to 30 seconds, because the next project I'll do over here is that Versiflex light. I'm going to go ahead and crank that up a little bit because I know I'm going to need to, and we'll go from there. All right. So I am trying to make sure that all the dads in my life are taken care of. My two closest coworkers on my team that are dads just did a mouse pad for one and did a shirt for one yesterday. So now we're going to do something for my brother. So we're going to do an 11-ounce mug. Now, I love sublimation on mugs because there's so much versatility here. Whether you are doing mugs to kind of fit a decor or to fit a theme, you can change out your mugs and your tablescape depending on the season. I do a lot of gifting with mugs. If I were selling, this is actually probably what I would sell, is themed mugs within a gift inside. But we do this for all my daughter's teachers. So they all have a ceramic mug with the class they teach, some cutesy little saying about it on there, their name, and then you can fill that in with hot chocolate supplies. You can fill that in with like desk stationery supplies too. So it's kind of a great little thing. It's also really easy to throw in a gift card and some candy. So ceramic mugs are an amazing vessel for so many different things. And I always, when I am teaching new hires, I do say that everyone's favorite word is the same thing. It's your name. For so many people like myself and Rhodes, we are not going to go into a store and find that customized mug with our name on it. So it's really awesome to be able to make that for those people who either their name's spelled a little bit differently or have unique names like Rhodes and I. All right, so we're going to do a Father's Day mug. So I'm going to go up to my filter and go down to Add. And this is an oldie but a goodie. So this has been in here for a while. But these photo frames are just phenomenal because they do allow you to add a lot of photos to something, which is so neat. I'm going to lasso around this and make this area bigger. Rose, have we got any other questions?
We're caught up on questions.
Awesome. Okay, so before I get too into the photos and forget what I'm doing, I'm going to zoom in on this real fast. I'm going to click on this text, click off of everything so it's ungrouped, click on that custom message, and then I'm just going to change this. I'm actually just going to go with the one line. All right, oops. Move that back into place. There is an undo as well. I just tend to grab it and move it really fast, but you can do that too. Make that bigger. I'm going to stop moving that black box. Click off, click on. To the right spot this time. I'm actually going to go into my layers panel. It's kind of hard to see all my text and everything, but that is in the back, so hopefully I can just grab it. I was going to move it back if it was going to keep being mean to me. There we go, we got it. This is a great design because it does give you that ability to personalize it just a little bit further. And just add their names on there. Push that down just a little, and now we're going to go in and add these photos. Now I'm going to zoom out so you can see this a little bit better. But as you can see, as I click on these, it's going to behave, I promise. It's going to open up into that mask that we saw earlier with the shapes. So I can go in and I can choose my photos. And get those in. And it's going to go really smooth and rather quickly, which is nice. So I'm going to get that first photo in, bring that down, or bring that, enlarge it a little bit, bring it down a little bit, and move on to the next one. And we're just going to quickly add these in. So Rhodes, do you have any big Father's Day plans with your family?
We're kind of combining Father's Day and Independence Day and all of that into one huge weekend.
Oh, nice.
So there's a beach house planned and all of that.
Oh, all the fun stuff then.
Bringing everyone together around that time.
Nice. That's always a good way to do it. Now, have you made any personalized gifts for your family?
I've made a bunch of coffee mugs over the last few years for my family.
Coffee mugs are a lot of fun.
Everyone has a named, branded coffee mug for themselves.
Yep, that's exactly everyone I have ever met has one at this point.
And you are right, I have never found my name on any touristy, kitschy
Yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah, for those of us that have the more unique names, my name is actually one of the least popular names. It's on the bottom list instead of the top list, like my daughter's name. So, all right, get these moved around. You see how easy this is, though. All I did at a time was just selected what photos I wanted to use, and now I'm just able to throw those in, position those the way they need to be, and we're ready to go. Want to make sure no one gets left out of the photo. And one more. All right, so I would say without a shadow of a doubt, the masked feature is my favorite thing. Just because it does allow you to do things like this, use this template, easily get the whole family in there, and we are ready to hit print. So we do have our tape. I'll go ahead and grab a mug and get that unwrapped. This is nice and wrapped and secure. If I did not have it wrapped so well, I probably would use some alcohol on a lint-free cloth just to get any dust or anything that may be on there. This one's wrapped pretty well, so I'm feeling pretty secure on that. All right. We've hit print. We're going to wait on that acknowledgement, which is here now. And there that goes. Now you're noticing that as I'm waiting on files to transfer over and do those things, I'm doing other things. So I am filling that time, getting everything set up, looking for my scissors to make sure I didn't lose them. All right, that's going to be in just a second. And this to me is a great session because I'm doing a lot of different projects at once. So, you know, setting temperatures and then starting work and those things to make sure everything's set and ready. This does have a lot of photos on it. So it is a rather large file that's coming over. And we're going to give it just a second to open. I'm going to grab my scissors while I'm waiting. And try not to knock the printer off the table. All right, there that is. It's all ready to go. So again, if I needed to crop the image area, not really a thing here. Landscape is correct. I am going to center this on the page. This always feels safer just to make sure nothing gets cut off. I can cut it, so I'm good there. I am going to change this to ceramic. Letter size is correct. I do have TruePix Classic in there. And then I am going to successfully remember to do the option tray. So proud of myself. This is photographs. I'm going to leave it on photographic mode and ready to go. So now we're just going to wait for that to print out and we'll be set. There it goes. All right, so that is printing. We're going to give that just a second. It is high quality photos, so they are going to take a little bit longer. I'm going to cut that decently close. I don't think this is full bleed, so I think I'm all right. Go ahead and cut this out. Now I do see there is an error here. I'm going to go ahead and push through on doing this. A couple of my photos were portrait and they did rotate on me. Normally I would go back and fix it, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go through and then this will just be my little funny mug with the mistake on it. Alright, so we're going to get this set and ready to go. It looks great. I always, when I'm doing mugs, make sure and line it up so that there's an equal amount on either side of the handle. I know my mug press pretty well, and so I know that this is a good distance. If you ever get too close to the handle, what's going to happen is you're going to notice that you get kind of a ghosting because it's not getting the full heat when it's really close. So I know I should be okay with this distance and how much white I left. But always be aware of that when you're doing a mug. Now I have put tape there. I usually put tape just a couple of other places to make sure it's nice and secure. And we're set and ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to drop that in my mug press. This is an automatic mug press, so it's going to close on its own. And I've got it set to the highest temperature and the highest time, so when it's done, it will let me know. Alright, so while we're over here, I do have a wood plaque that I picked up. So I just picked this up at a local craft store yesterday. And these are phenomenal. Again, I said it's gifting season. There are a lot of people who are moving as well. So it's a good little housewarming gift. Really good too with weddings and things like that. I should have made sure and taken this off ahead of time because it did stick a little bit. So throw those tips you have for removing stuck labels into the chat. I'm going to go with the tape method really fast and see if I can get some of this off. I think alcohol too, if I had any in the room. I could use that really quickly to get this off. I guess technically I'm about to heat this up a little bit, so we'll see if that helps too. All right. I'm going to test this really fast to see. Hopefully the heat will help. Rhodes, has anyone offered any other suggestions to get me out of my predicament?
Yeah, Lori says throw it under the heat press with a sheet on top for about 5 seconds. Essentially steam it out.
Thank you for the reminder for the sheet on top so that it doesn't end up stuck to my press. Okay. All right, now wood is not high pressure. It is more of a medium pressure, so this is a little higher than I would want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and lower this a little bit more. Another half turn should do me. But you are more on the medium pressure side than you are on the high pressure side. Look at that. Lori saves the day.
Lori saves the day.
Yeah. All right. All right, cool. I think that is good enough for class, just to do a sample. I didn't get it 100% off. Like I said, I'd probably play with a little bit more if this were something I was really doing to give someone. And we're set. All right.
Lori says she knows things because she tends to mess them up and learn from it.
I know, right? Yeah, I was thinking with our normal sublimation blanks, there's never an issue. We usually don't have price tags. Things are nicely wrapped. They tend to have plastic coatings on top, all that fun stuff. I'm gonna grab this mug really fast and let it sit. So we tend to not have to worry about stickers and all of that fun stuff. So it's kind of a new world. Same thing, you know, is your wood straight? Is it warped? All of those fun things that we've never really dealt with before. All right. I'm going to go ahead and use a blank sheet for this too, my 8.5 by 11. If I were working with larger paper today, I would probably use a custom canvas to really size this and make it as large as I would want, but I know 8.5 by 11 is going to fit on this well. All right. So I found a design that I really loved, so we're going to go with that. So that is in our home collection. There it is, right there. All right. I'm going to find that really, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to show you how to kind of take a design and then make it your own. So I'm going to delete this background and then I'm going to take this text. Now I liked that kind of greenish coloring on here. Hold on. Is actually not grabbing this so that I can change that color. Oh, there we go. This one did. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and what I found was I pulled a hex code for a moss green because I really like the way that looked. All right. Now it looks like I changed the outline and not the actual color. There I go with that. I'm going to grab this outline. I'm going to take this down to 0 because I don't really need one on this. I'm now going to go back in and click on that white, and that's where I'm going to put my hex code. It's not a white, but it's close to white. Alright. There we go. Now I have this where I wanted it. And maybe grabbing what's underneath. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, it's not grabbing the welcome for me. That happens. We're going to go ahead and change this next. It is not being nice to me today, now is it? Okay, so it is not wanting to play nice with me, and that's okay. We'll go with another design. Now, yeah, if I weren't in class and trying to make sure we stayed within time, I would play with that a lot more to make it do exactly what I wanted to, but for now I'm just going to clear that off and go with something else. And then if I were you, I would, if I were playing with that design and it wasn't doing what I wanted it to, I would open up a ticket with care.sawgrassinc.com. I am going to open up a ticket with a coworker next to me and say, hey, I tried to use this design and it didn't work. So it's just as simple as that. So just go in, open up a care ticket, let's get that fixed so no one else has to deal with that. And we'll just use a different design today. So this is kind of a Christmassy one, but I really like it. Really good to kind of display for Christmas. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And give that really nice design, and we'll print that out. Really lovely to kind of add to your Christmas display. I spent maybe $10 on this particular plaque, so something that you could use for 1 year and not really worry about, you know, it being kind of used that 1 year. But you can actually keep redisplaying it so you remember as part of your holidays what was your first year in the new house, what was your first Christmas there. And Rhodes, have we had any other questions?
No other questions as of now.
All right. Now this will be our last project. I did promise you 3 of each. So my other 2 would have been a shirt. So cotton shirts are my favorite Versiflex project. I kind of have made them for everything, so it's kind of fun that I've made them for lots of Father's Day projects too. And then my other one would have been coasters. So with sublimation, there's so many different materials that you can do. There's so many different sublimation coaster types out there. And they are just so wonderful, whether it's marble, whether it's ceramic, even some others in there, neoprene and slate. There's so many different options there. So coasters are definitely one of my favorites. All right, so this is an uncoated wood. I think that's nice and centered, so I'm not really worried about that. It is going on my Versiflex Light. This is not photo, so I will go over to color management and go over to Vivid and print that out. Now, while that is printing, we will go ahead and peel our mug. Check out that mug. Well, you can't because I have it turned the wrong way. But look at that. As you can see it. Really great Father's Day gift. Like I said, I did know there's an error on there, but that's okay. It looks awesome, and I'll redo it to make sure he gets a copy. So yeah, nice little Father's Day mug. All right, so let's go over and put this on our wood. All right, so here's my patented hover and drop. I'm gonna center that. That looks really good. Drop that down. And we're set and ready to go. Now, and I'll try to show this when I go to peel it off. You're gonna see that the paper kind of goes off the sides a little bit, which is good. That's gonna give you something to grab and pull on. Because with the wood, you want to make sure that you are getting those and pulling them really quickly. So that little extra piece is gonna be a little tab to help me pull that off quickly.
Miriam also commented that if paper is ever stuck to the wood, you can use a heat tool to blow it off.
Yep. Yeah, so if you're ever doing the Versiflex and it does stick, using a heat gun is a good way to kind of quickly get that done. This is a little different because it was my sticker that was stuck, but we're good. All right. All right. Again, I would probably take a little heat gun, clean this up. Really helpful too because I still have a little bit of that sticker stuck. But in general, that looks really, really good. And we actually have someone to give this to, so that's going to be a lot of fun too. All right, so we have spent a lot of time in the hour. We got to look at some great features in the design tool, like the shapes. We got to look at some great sublimation projects with mugs, with mouse pads, and we didn't do it today, but coasters. We also got to do some great Versiflex projects too, with that wood sign, with that wonderful tote bag that I'm going to enjoy so much. And then you got to see a t-shirt yesterday. You'll get to see lots more t-shirts. But I will try to finish those two projects and add them to the comments on YouTube so you can see how they turned out too. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back next week. Also, at the end of the week, keep a look on our social media and on our website because I am so excited to say that we have relaunched Ink Differently, our podcast. We do have our inaugural podcast. We'll be up by Friday at the latest. The deadline was Friday, but I think we're going to beat that, which I'm really excited about. Great interview with Alex Tokarev, who is our Director of Research and Development here at Sawgrass. We're going to talk a lot about Versiflex. So I think you're going to really enjoy that. I'm really excited about it. And we will see you next week. Now, next week is going to be a little different. We are going to do 2 afternoon workshops next week. We will do one at 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday and at 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So we will see you then. And until then, have a great week and have fun doing sublimation and Versiflex projects. Bye-bye.